Hey guys, Avali May with ESPN Esports. I am here with 100 Thieves coach Prolly. Sadly, 100 Thieves is out of Worlds. How are you and the team holding up?
Well, it's kind of just the end, and that's the way it goes. I think everyone, as weird as it sounds, is very used to losing and know what the end of the season feels like. And I think the first 2 or 3 days of the end feels very strange. Like it hasn't hit you yet. It's kind of like a delayed emotion. So maybe in a couple of days I'll have a better answer. But right now it's just like, oh, I guess we're not going to work right now. But yeah, maybe.
And we get to hear from all the players firsthand about the pressure of playing and competing on the world stage. But for you, from a coach's perspective, how do you look back on the team's performance through Worlds?
I guess it's mostly figuring out like where like it was too slow, like what caused it to be too slow in terms of improvement, or like what we missed, like why did we miss like a certain like meta jump or play style. So it's kind of like figuring out like why it went wrong and not necessarily like, oh yeah, we should have done this here. It's more of like, why didn't we see that? What are the steps to finding it out next time faster? And just like overall, like, I guess kind of problem solving and like not hindsight, but reverse engineering kind of style.
Can you give us a little bit of an insight into that as to why you think 100 Thieves didn't perform to the top level?
I mean, I think IG and Fnatic were just better teams than us for sure. I think they had a better read just on the meta, and they're mechanically more skilled than us. I think like Someday was kind of like the only one that was I could see like outplaying them. So this meta ended up being a very like fast-paced like fighting meta where us having like late game shot calling or anything like that wouldn't really save us because the games were over so quickly. So us being able to learn faster or have like a better like floor of mechanics would have been able to like give us a better showing. Because yeah, even when we were playing against like G-Rex, who was like I think overall just a worse team than us, you could see like we could still play the game very normally. So it wasn't like a big breakdown and like, oh my god, we came to Worlds and there's nothing to do. It's like we played against two really good teams and they were just mechanically better than us, and their map play was pretty good too, but the games were just too fast for us to keep up with.
And what people have to remember is that this is still 100 Thieves' first year as an organization. You guys made it to playoffs, both splits in a row, and then made it all the way to Worlds. So it's still kind of props to you guys. But I mean, when this team was first formed, is this how far that you expect it to go at the end of the year?
Yes. When we got this roster, I was like, this can definitely go to Worlds. But obviously, since then, I don't think I'm capable of looking that far ahead, being like, we'll make Worlds and we'll get out of groups. Like, usually my steps are like, let's work on getting to the Worlds part. And then from there, we'll either be good enough or not good enough. So I expected us to get this far. I wish the showing was better. Like, yeah, I don't know. I would have liked to lose in a different way. Like, we just didn't know about this pick, or we didn't know about this. Shucks. That would have felt better, but I did expect to go this far, and going into second year, we should be going further than this year.
Got it. And the roster is a little bit different from the spring split to now coming into Worlds, and I know it's a little uncomfortable, but it is the topic of basically everything in the community on Reddit. Rikara over Cody Sun. Spoke with Aframu, and he said it's mainly up to the coaching decision as well as scrim. So can you give some insight as to why we saw Rikara throughout Worlds and not a single game from Cody?
It's very hard to see on the outside because you guys are seeing the performance against like better teams than us. And we're not going to leak scrims or anything like that, but obviously like scrim results were absolutely better for us with Rikara. And I think, yeah, the last time we saw Cody Sun was in North America. So we're playing against like much stronger bot lanes. So I think right now everyone's curious, like we're losing these games. Shouldn't we switch it up? But at that point, or at the point in boot camp where we decided to start using Rikara over Cody Sun, it just ended up being better to all in on one style and try to figure that out, as opposed to like splitting it up and being like, well, we're performing better with this guy, but we will find a strategy for the other guy. It started to not make sense to split time and just like hard to focus on one.
So would you say that the roster that you've put together for this year, I mean, I'm excited to see how well they do next year. Is this a team that can develop even more and work even more on their strengths?
I haven't thought too hard about long-term with this roster like just yet, because we had 2 big roster turnovers with Cody Sonrakara and then Midos and Anda. Mm-hmm. So since those roster changes, it was mostly like, how do we make the most of right now? And I haven't really thought of like, what is this going to look like in 6 months? What is this going to look like in 9 months? So that's something I'll have to start thinking about now. And that's kind of, I guess what my job will be for the next coming months.
And is there anything that you'd like to say to your teammates, or maybe that you did say to them after their final game? Words of encouragement, words of praise, or even acknowledgement?
I don't do that many motivational speeches anymore. I kind of stopped that. So most of it was like, well, good job, guys. And that's like, I'm very aloof in that way. So I hope my players understand that that's the most that they'll get for now.
Was it 100 Thieves or FlyQuest who had like a dogs meme for like a pregame thing?
Oh yeah, that was us.
Explain that.
I'd rather not.
Never mind.
But I guess rather not for my own sake. It'd be for the sake of some teammates. But so teammates that will remain nameless. There's the phrase was like, there are some good players, we're some good players. So they got some dogs, we got some dogs. And then bark bark was thrown in there by someone. So that's kind of how it went. I don't know. I was just a bystander. Yep.
Bark, bark. Prolly, thank you again. It's always a pleasure talking to you. That's it for us here. I'm Avali May with ESPN Esports. Bark, bark.
Yeah.
Jesus.